Hey folks, Anthony Speciale here with Hawkeye Traders. Welcome to the video. Gonna go over my morning ritual with you guys. Try to give you some insight to the way I approach the markets and the way of analysis, right? Some of you like using computer-populated analysis, whether it be pivots or whatnot. I'm a big fan of doing it myself. Why? Because I can make decisions based around the interaction of volume and price action. And when I draw a trend line, what's meaningful to me is how the volume acted at that trend line, right? So the components of where I'm going to draw my trend line is very much based upon where either the buyers or sellers aggressively stepped into the market, because that's the only way that trend line is going to exhibit some validity later in the session. So this is an intraday setup. You can apply this to stocks, futures, forex, cryptocurrencies. You can do this daily. You can do this for swing trading, even position trading. It's really no different. So what am I looking for? Okay, this is the S&P 500. What you see is a 5-minute chart. Okay, and you can see for the most part off of this low here placed at 10:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that price has been doing what? It's been rising. So what's important to me? I want to find where the buyers are the strongest, okay? So I have notably strong buying volume right there. All right? So I have another pivot here. I don't have either excessive selling or excessive buying. So I'm going to kind of ignore that, right? And I'm going to now continue to look. All right? At 2 a.m., I have a wide bar. I have strong buying volume. Okay, beautiful. All right, so we come in here, we get a little choppy as well, fairly strong buying volume here. I'm going to make a note of that. Now, for me, a trend line should have a minimum of 3 touches for it to be somewhat meaningful. So I'm going to go over here, I'm going to grab what's called the ray. And the reason I'm going to grab the ray is because I want it to extend out without me having to do the work, right? It'll extend to infinity, right, as long as I just place it where I want my 2 points to be. So the origin of this trend line is going to go at this low right here, okay? And now I'm looking essentially for where is the next closest, strongest buying. And that's going to come in at this low right here, which is at 56 quarter, 55.60 quarter, right? So what have I established? I have my low. I don't quite touch this. I can live with that, all right, because a trend line represents an area. I have my next strongest buying. I just about touched this candle here, which was fairly notable at 305. I definitely touched this candle here that we identified at 320. So now I've drawn a trend line. What do you think is going to happen later in the day, later in the session, right? Is there a good chance that buyers come back in to touch this trend line? Now, it doesn't mean that they can't penetrate it. It just means, is there a chance that if price were to come visit this trend line again, placing the formation, right, at the highest volume areas I can find, getting as many touches, short-term touches as possible? Right, so let's see what happens. I'm just going to reset the screen, and we're going to look outward, okay? Well, what happened here? Well, price came pretty close, right? It gave us the opportunity to go, all right, well, we got to take a really, really close look here and start to figure, hey, is this area a range of potential support? Now, you can do this a few ways. You can clone this. You can include that little interior low. You can clone this and include that other wick that just inched out, and you can say, all right, now that we understand a trend line represents a range, right, and we've now touched all these key areas, we have a whole bunch of touches, do we come back to it? Yeah, we fall just barely short of it, right? So what does that tell me? It tells me that this area here will potentially provide buyers. Okay, so market continues to push up. We come all the way back. I mean, just a few ticks off testing the formation of this trend line, and again, we don't have to use all these guys, right? I'm just doing this for example purposes to show that it really represents a range, right, or an area. Boom, market pushes back up. Now the market is reapproaching this area, right, this trend line, this prior low here. What's going to happen? Well, either we're going to rotate and go higher, or we're going to break this low, which is what we would call a neckline, okay? This is a neckline of a double top. And if we come crashing through this area, now what are my targets going to be? My target's going to be right there, okay? The last time, I'm going to now look for every touch of this trend line to potentially be my target, okay? That could be a target if we break down through the trend line and the neckline. Right, I could also use the original low, right, where it all started. So if price breaks through here, I now need to what? I need to now consider 55.62 quarter or 62 half and 55.53 as potential targets. Why is this trend line meaningful? Because high buying volume interacted with the trend line throughout its creation, okay? And we'll see if price breaks through here. It may not happen immediately, but there's a pretty good chance that we now start visiting the areas which this trend line was formed. But it comes down to understanding where were the buyers most aggressive in the formation of this trend line. Here, here, and here, okay? So what am I targeting? I'm targeting all those levels. I mean, I could put one here if I wanted to as well. It's going to be pretty tight to that first one. But, you know, that range of those two may provide some support. But what happens next? We have to break the trend line. We have to break the neckline of the double top, because that's exactly what this is, right? It's a double top. And in a matter of just a few minutes, we've identified where the opportunity is. Now, if this holds, we could then pitch back higher. If this doesn't hold and we break through it, we know where we're likely to go. But what it comes down to, guys, at the end of the day is drawing the trend line where the highest volume was or where the highest interest was. Now, if we were going in a downward market, right? What would I be looking for? I'd be looking for the highest selling interest at the tops, like I'm looking for the highest buying interest at the bottoms. So next time you go to draw a trend line, I encourage you to rely on the Hawkeye volume here to find, right, key reversals. This is what we very specifically have named or coined a green bottom. Big wick, little body, significant reversal. That's a green bottom, okay? That's what? A green bottom. That's what? A green bottom, okay? So it means that these candles, reversal candles, exhibit high buying volume. Whereas inversely, we would be looking for red tops if the trade was trending to the downside. So next time you do this, what I'd like you to do is to employ volume very specifically in drawing your trend line, okay? And I invite you to do that because I think that you will get a much more significant support or resistance level based on the direction the market's going. As you can see, for the moment, as we speak, we're perfectly testing that trend line, perfectly testing that neckline, okay? So I'd like to dig a little deeper into these concepts with you if you'd be willing to share a little bit of time with me. Below this video, I'm going to place a training webinar link. I'd like you to join me. We're going to spend a little more time diving into this price action volume theory. After that, I'd like to get the Hawkeye indicators populating on your screen. Very specifically because I want you to focus on the volume, the interaction between price and volume, okay? Where are these significant buying areas? Where are these significant selling areas? How can you capitalize on them, all right? In doing so, I'm going to also grant you access to the Hawkeye Volume Mastery Series, where at your own pace, you can watch continual training videos so that you can understand all the different ways that volume and price action interact with one another. So again, I invite you, head below this video, click on that link, join me in the training webinar. Let's dive deeper into this concept so that you can put this into use for yourself. Guys, I've been doing this for years for myself, years for my clients. It has been an absolute game changer. This is really what revolutionized my ability to trade, and I genuinely believe it will for you as well. I'll see you in the next video. God bless and have a beautiful day.